Kaboom! Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Live from Kingston, Jamaica, broadcasting around the world. You're watching the Teach Them YouTube show. Intellectual, yet stimulating. Fair, frank, and factual. This is Extra Class, streaming to the world and beyond.
You know, it's Teach Them, the #1 intellectual blogging panel on the YouTube channel.
Good night, everyone. Let me know if you're seeing me clearly. Let me know if you're hearing me clearly. If you're seeing and hearing me clearly, welcome to another episode of Extra Class, episode number 325. We give thanks because we're still alive. You know what I mean? And every morning, God continues to open my eyes. You see me? Despite living in a world of war, violence, and lies. Never mind. Peeps, big up on yourself. We're there. You understand? Hope everybody has been having a blessed weekend, a wonderful Sunday. You see me? Big up to the people that are there. We'll talk about some things. Don't think the stream will be long. Don't think it will be short either. We still try to find back some common ground. You understand? More on catch piece of the Jamaica game. Zane. With the United States. We wasted our opportunities against Costa Rica, and now we are playing the United States, which in my opinion is probably the best team in CONCACAF presently. You know, there's always Mexico, but the quality of the United States players these days, most of them are, well, not most, many of them are playing in some very big clubs in Europe. You have players in the team that are at Barca, at Bayern Munich, Chelsea, all about the place. Yeah, that's what I mean. I say Juventus, I think, and some place. So the United States team is not one to be taken lightly, and we shouldn't beat up Costa Rica and avoid the US at all costs. If we play US, I'm a semi-final or final. But make we say good tonight. So make we move on. Talk about some things. You see me? And all the people in the building, good night. Good night, Kerry. It's good to see you. It's always good to see you. Yeah, and I know you're still tired from the honeymoon and them something, but big up yourself. You see me? MS, big up. Zane, at you a long time I don't see the man. So I could start that something because as I say, I need to catch at least the second half of a match. You see me? I probably need to put up on TV in a studio somewhere and I look at TV. Can go and look on something sometime. I look into it. You know, if it's big, you understand? Zane, born 21 in somewhere, on a wall somewhere. We see. Can keep a eye on some sit. Alright. I could start with that something, you know. Like, I'm so tired of this thing, but it's what it is, 156 new COVID-19 cases and 3 more deaths recorded. Good night, Messiahs. Good to see you, mother. Jamaica recorded 156 new cases of COVID-19 on Saturday. That brings the number of infections since the start of the pandemic to 51,984. Yeah. Also, the latest confirmations came from 782 samples. The positivity rate jumped to 18.6% compared to 13.6% for Friday. And 3 more patients also died on Saturday, pushing the death toll to 1,176. The numbers continue to trend upwards, at least in the past couple of days, and I suspect that they will continue as the social gatherings and events continues apace and people get a little bit more comfortable and relaxed and lower the guard. And then something there. See? But concerning is the fact that the health sector is still grappling with staff shortage, and that is important. And let me tell you why. It is not a matter of if or maybe there will be a spike. There will be a spike. How significant a spike is left to be seen. However, I assure you there will be a spike. And the CMO, which is the Chief Medical Officer, has come out and said that the sector is still grappling with staff shortage. The Ministry of Health continues to face a staff shortage as it braces for a surge in COVID-19 cases following the relaxation of measures. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa Mackenzie says health facilities should take into account the patient-to-staff ratio in their pre-planning. We do know that we have challenges, especially where our nurses are concerned, and especially in activating those high dependency and critical care beds where you do require a high ratio of staff to patient, the CMO pointed out. Dr. Mackenzie said the human resource challenge is further compounded by inadequate vaccination take-up by health workers. I'll touch on that in a few. Because not only are many regular Jamaicans not taking the vaccines when they're available, because that's another issue, but many health care practitioners are also shying away from being vaccinated. And I want to encourage all our healthcare workers who have not been vaccinated that they need to ensure that they are vaccinated, because we have to keep the health system up in order for us to be able to respond appropriately, she urged. I suspect that the beckoning of the very wonderful CMO will do very little in convincing healthcare workers, or in some instances ordinary Jamaicans, to become vaccinated, especially considering that there is nothing in the Constitution which makes it legal for mandatory vaccination, as far as I know. You will have some companies that will posture and some offices that will posture and say that you have to take, but there's nothing, as far as I know, within the Jamaican, as a matter of fact, I'll prove it to you in a few, in the Jamaican Constitution that makes it mandatory, or mandatory, if you so prefer, for Jamaicans to become vaccinated. So it cannot be forced. We cannot be forced, or we ought not to be forced to become vaccinated. Constitutionally, it is our right to decide whether or not we want to be vaccinated. But I'll give you some more information as it relates to that in a few. So let the good doctor stay on screen for the time being. High vaccine hesitancy among essential workers, according to the data. So you were just saying now that many healthcare professionals, especially nurses, are shying away from becoming vaccinated. Now, I am going to give you even more information about the categories of workers who are deemed essential and are not interested, or the numbers are very small. Mandatory inoculation not being considered at this time, says Health Ministry, with Prime Minister Andrew Holness sounding the alarm that it is but a matter of time before Jamaica confirms its first case of the Delta variant of the coronavirus, and warning that Jamaicans could see another raft of containment measures this week, possibly Tuesday coming, because that is the day cabinet meet Monday, and then them announce Tuesday, something like that. I'm not sure. Up to Friday. Well, let's do that. Let me pick up again. Figures from the Ministry of Health and Wellness up to Friday, forget about Friday because I just gave you the figures for today, indicated that some essential workers are still not taking up the opportunity to be vaccinated. The Jamaica Fire Brigade has the least number of staff fully vaccinated. Of 2,204 employees, 260 are fully vaccinated, with 373 persons receiving only the first shot. I was saying that Friday night in a carry, I'm going to talk about that a little more. Don't move. So the fire brigade, they're not very hot on vaccination. Let's put it that way. They're actually very cold. Yeah. Speaking with the Sunday Gleaner, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, said with some 88 members previously infected and another 260 having to quarantine because of exposure to the virus, he is uncomfortable with the level of vaccination of his team. The JFB has been trying for months to convince the staff to accept the vaccine, he said, noting an internal target of 70 to 75% take up by next March. Where we are having the challenge is at the lower level with the younger persons, which is a reflection of what is happening in society, he reasoned. We started off really slow, but I am picking up on the ground that more and more persons are now going forward in taking the vaccine, Beckford said, adding that he has also impressed on staff the value of being vaccinated and the fact that their time off for quarantine could be lessened should they wish to travel overseas for a vacation. Conversely, healthcare workers and the Jamaica Defence Force have the greatest number of members vaccinated. A total of 15,946 of an estimated 36,900 healthcare workers have received their first dose, with 8,866 workers now fully vaccinated. The JDF have some 10,951 soldiers of an estimated 12,000 receiving their first dose. That is very high. And 4,630 now fully vaccinated, the data shows. Interesting. No, there was some little things going on the JDF for the vaccination thing. We spoke about some things. Not that they were forced, but situations were presented to people that suggested that should you not get vaccinated, then you may be at a disadvantage with certain things. So I suppose that was probably some form of coercion. Let's continue. The JDF recently came under fire, as I'm saying just now. I have not read through this article yet, I just scan it. So basically the thing when me just say, I'm going to read about it. The JDF recently came under fire for attempting to mandate soldiers to take the vaccine, but has since said members will face no disciplinary action for refusing, only administrative penalties. The Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, one of the first point of contact for visitors at the country's ports of entry, has seen 244 staff receiving their first dose and 182 persons fully vaccinated. Yeah? We have a little over 500 staff members and we have encouraged all employees to be vaccinated, especially those on the front line at our ports and those who interface with the public at our offices, Executive Officer Andrew Winter said. With over 200 immigration officers, Winter said most, if not all, of those officers would be in the numbers reported by the Health Ministry. Since the onset of COVID-19, teachers have also found themselves on the front line, but with schools due to reopen come September, just 7,899 or 33% of the nation's 24,000 registered teachers have taken the first dose of the vaccine, with 5,693 fully vaccinated. JTA President Jasford Gabriel, in commenting on the vaccine take-up among teachers, said that the association would have been happy if the take-up rate was higher. The JTA has constantly encouraged our teachers to get fully vaccinated to protect themselves. Our teachers are at a high risk of contracting the virus, given the nature of our work, especially in a face-to-face arrangement, he said. The reopening of school for the new academic year, however, remains uncertain, as Kerry said earlier, given the current uptick in the spread of the virus, despite the Education Ministry initiating plans to resume face-to-face classes. To this, the JTA president suggested a rotational basis of engagement to reduce the risk of infections. Possibly that could work. Last week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness urged Jamaicans to exercise extreme caution and remain vigilant about observing the COVID-19 protocols, noting that this is not the time to become complacent. His urging was in light of the increasing numbers of infection in recent weeks, recent days, and so on. Shall we then? I'm going to move on from this. Move on. What is driving the spread is indiscipline, complacency, and a lack of diligence in observing the protocol, said the Prime Minister. Now, the COVID-19 subcommittee of cabinet will determine over this weekend whether to impose new COVID-19 containment measures ahead of the August 11 expiration of the current ones, with an announcement due to be made at a press conference on Tuesday. Interestingly, as well, only 5,207 of the 12,000 Jamaica Constabulary Force members have gotten their first dose of vaccine, with 2,580 officers now fully vaccinated. Admittedly, the JCF is not where it wants to be with the vaccination coverage ahead of the head of the medical services branch of the JCF, Dr. George Leverage, said, "I don't think that we could be comfortable with not having a significant number of persons vaccinated, because we have to work in close contact with the public to enforce the law." He said the JCF has seen more buy-in, with more officers now opting to take the jab, but the vaccine shortage facing the country and the subsequent targeting of persons due their second shot has meant some officers have been asked to hold off a bit. That is a little drawback now that we are getting additional buy-in from police, who are more settled and are attempting to start the vaccination process. They were asked to hold off until maybe next month, he said. For the category of the general population, a total of 57,149 persons are now fully vaccinated, with 76,859 having received their first dose. So almost 60,000 people fully vaccinated, and almost 80,000 people received first dose. So that to them put in the region of say 135,000 people who have at least received one dose. However, some of the members of the JCF and JDF did not declare themselves, so we have some of them caught in the data of the general population figures, noted Permanent Secretary in the Health Ministry, Dunstan Bryan. This kind of long, but it's important. Of an estimated 3,000 government officials, 750 are fully vaccinated, with 1,172 having taken the first dose. The Ministry of Health's focus on the elderly has seen 34,505 of that cohort fully vaccinated and 47,242 getting the first dose. In total, 302,694 doses of the COVID-19 have been administered to Jamaicans up to Friday, the data from the Health Ministry stated. Now, that is a Jamaican situation. Watch that thing. Remember, I was saying to you earlier that as far as I know, there is no provision within the Constitution of Jamaica that makes it mandatory for Jamaicans to be vaccinated. It should be a choice. We are seeing, though, that in a few countries across the region, governments are starting to apply pressure and are suggesting that you have to take the vaccine or else, something or another. So let's look at this. Regionally, things are starting to heat up, with Antigua and Barbuda now requiring its public sector workers to undergo a polymerase chain reaction or PCR test every 14 days at their personal expense. And that test is not cheap. I think in Jamaica that test is at least $18,000. If memory so, if there's anybody in the stream who has done the PCR in Jamaica, privately, not through the government, can you state how much it costs? I think it is in the region of $18,000 to $20,000. I could be wrong if you do it privately. So watch this now. So as I said, regionally, things are starting to heat up, with Antigua and Barbuda now requiring its public sector workers to undergo a polymerase chain reaction PCR test. Though it says $23,000. Ellie said 8,000. Ellie, the 8,000 in Jamaica was that the antigen test or the PCR test? Because I know it is somewhere between 18 to 20,000. Some people say 20, some people say 18.5, some people say 15. Okay, 18. Me spend. See, in other region, so it's not cheap. So if, say for example, that was supposed to happen in Jamaica, and you don't get vaccinated and you are supposed to do a PCR test every 2 weeks, so you're basically spending $40,000 a month. PCR in Jamaica for 8,000 earlier. Why you do that? Let me make the people know about the place there, because the place is cheap. You understand? Yeah, man, I know the PCR is way more expensive than the antigen test, do it, man. 18,500. Okay, Ellie says she do fear for 8 grand. Ellie, away. Mr. Irma said 18.5. Alright. So you can imagine if that was supposed to be a thing in Jamaica. However, as I'm saying, as far as I know, and that is as far as I know, there is no provision within the Constitution to make it mandatory for us to become vaccinated. But Antigua thing look dicey because the government has said if you don't become vaccinated, every 14 days as a public sector worker, civil servant, you will have to do a PCR to show that you are negative at a cost that you will have to absorb. That not sound fair or safe or wise. I don't even know it. $300 in Antigua. So Ken, I'm not sure of the value of the strength of the EC dollars. Is that reasonable or is that expensive? So I could continue here, so. So if they opt not to participate in the government inoculation drive, Prime Minister Gaston Brown in May warned of the possibility of implementing a mandatory vaccination program against the background of that country's deepening financial woes. I had it done at Biomedical in Kingston. That was in April. Oh, okay. Cool. $65 Canadian. Okay. Imagine teachers paying $40,000 in a month. Boy, Matthew, Jaja God. Barbados is $100 or 50 or equivalent to 50 US. Yes. So the move is intended to push herd immunity to 70% as the government tries to stabilize the economy and save jobs. In addition, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, I think, has said the government is prepared to enforce mandatory COVID-19 vaccination for both private and public sector workers. The country's law allows for a person to be fired if they refuse to take the COVID-19 vaccine, said the Prime Minister, who is also the Minister of Legal Affairs. Now, back to the Jamaican situation that I was saying to you. Based on my knowledge, my understanding, the information that I am privy to, there's nothing in the Constitution that says if the government says we have to take it, we have to take it. The Constitution doesn't speak to that. And in order for that to become a thing, there would have to be some adjustment to the Constitution. But we can look at it. So I just put it out there for people because, you know, there's a lot of misinformation going around and people have their agenda and people said things and then somebody else add to it and by the time you know it's a major thing. In Jamaica's case, while the government can mandate vaccination as a condition for entry to school for children, let me take back that to the top. In Jamaica's case, while the government can mandate vaccination as a condition for entry to school for children, you know, like your immunization card, you normally go to your medical and them something there. Under the Public Health Act of Jamaica 1974, which makes provision for promoting public health and for preventing the spread of communicable and epidemic diseases, the government cannot, let me read again, the government of Jamaica cannot compel citizens to take the COVID-19 vaccine, said Dunstan Bryan, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health. The government is also not looking to change this legal setup at this time, he said. Wisely so. Now, constitutional lawyer Dr. Lyde Barnett sees mandatory COVID-19 vaccination as depending on a lot of things being balanced. A lot depends on the nature of employment contracts of people, where they work and their level of exposure to the virus, he said. The infliction of mandatory vaccination engages a number of important fundamental rights. The freedom of the persons, privacy, equitable treatment as well as religious freedom. Because compulsory vaccination is far-reaching in nature. It restricts movement. It invades a person's body and privacy. And Dr. Barnett recently told a virtual forum on the issue of mandatory vaccination. The government would have to establish justifiably not only on the basis of effectiveness but also on the basis that this is reasonably required. So as things are, yeah man, I remember about the match of the Sheldon. Me pre-said I want to catch at least the second half. Zane, yeah man, I think Canada is leading Costa Rica. Oh, two there now. Brother, we should be playing Canada now, brother. With dash of the match against Costa Rica, now we have to face the United States early. You understand? Because we haven't been playing very well either. Yes, we managed to win the 2 first games. We struggled against Guadeloupe. Suriname was but I don't like we play nobody before we play Costa Rica, and we dominated the early exchanges and we wasted our chances and Costa Rica burned we. And now we are playing US in the second round. It's like, boy, I don't know. Yeah. Alright. So that is the situation. And if you realize I am trying to take my time to explain, because a lot of things have been said, a lot of things are being said, and many persons are not taking the time to become informed. They are not taking the time to do any research for themselves. They just want to hear somebody say something, man. It's gospel according to John. As far as the Constitution of Jamaica says, nah man, Jamaica, it is easier for us to beat Canada than to beat the United States. Yeah man, Jamaica can't beat anybody in a CONCACAF, man. All things being equal, we can't beat anyone. And the last 2 Gold Cups show that. Zane, even though we don't win none of them. However, I would prefer to play the Canada now than the United States. If I was a coach, I would rather prepare my side to play Canada now than play the United States. It's a simple thing. You understand what I say? Yeah, man. Alright. So that's the situation. The government can't force me to take no vaccine based on the Constitution. I could do some housekeeping before we go on. No? I do these things because they help. However, I don't enjoy doing them because it means that another young lady or another young man has been missing, has gone missing. Under what circumstances? Most times we have no idea. But 2 more young ladies have been reported missing, so I could see if we can help find them now. Zane, young lady on screen, search on for a 16-year-old girl gone missing in Hanover. Alidan, I'm not sure if you know football or that statement and sound like he has a man with no ball game still. You see me? But you no matter Marriott, you are still better than Canada right now. You understand? See, more can leave a football thing for look more. You understand? Some serious things you know. And Ananda alert has been activated and the search is on for a 16-year-old Tiana Morgan of Trial Gardens, Hopewell in Hanover, who has been missing since Thursday, July 22nd. She's of brown complexion, slim build, and is about 165 centimeters or 5 feet 5 inches tall. Now, reports from the Sandy Bay police are that about 3 p.m., Tiana was last seen at home wearing a black tights and a floral bag, or a floral blouse, but a bag them have here, so or she had on a floral bag. What she have on with the black tights? I don't know. You understand? All efforts to contact her since have been unsuccessful. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Tiana Morgan is being asked to contact the Sandy Bay police. Let me put them things here down here, so. At 876-953-5312, the police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Yeah, man. And don't get me wrong, you know, guys. As I said, Jamaica have the ability to beat any team in CONCACAF. We have shown that before. However, in a tournament, you want to avoid the bigger sides as best as possible. And if you are face them late in the competition, Zine, when probably suspension and injuries would have probably taken a toll, and it is always better to play United States in the semi-final or the final versus the first round. Not the first round, the second round. I mean, a common sense that. Zane, and if as a coach, if you are given a pick between Canada and the United States as the first knockout game, every single time you're going to take Canada. If I was the coach. You understand? Yeah, man. Football not really works as still Griffiths. You see me? Yeah, man. Football, that is why. And Griffiths, let me explain a little thing. Look at the Champions League, for example. Every team wants to top their zone, their group, to avoid the top team in the next group. So if you win your group, you play the second best team in the group. That's a little incentive of topping your group because you want to, normally, all things being equal, the top team usually in the group usually wins the group. So you try to avoid the strongest team in the next round. So you try to win your group to play the second place team. And sometimes the second place team can be the strongest team based on how you're going. But generally speaking, it's a thing with football. You understand what I'm saying? And that's somebody who has played football. So we don't just look on football, we just watch it. We are talking about playing football and understanding football. Doing a little coaching to and them something there. You see me? Yeah, man. That's just my view upon the thing. I would have wanted to avoid the United States. We should then rub out Costa Rica and play Canada. Make US go and do them thing. You see me? US and Mexico knock out one of them. One smarty. Them knock out one of them. One knock out one and we have one less to deal with. I say you go, brother. In a competition, what you want to do is avoid the big guns them as much as possible. I say you win competition. You know, win competition by beating every big side in the world. See, England reach the final of Euro. England not play nobody in a competition other than Germany. Because if England did play like Italy or Belgium or France early in a competition, them probably not reach the final. Same thing with the World Cup. You understand what I mean? So who them playing at the World Cup before them reach semi-final? I just saw the thing go. You see me? So you try if you avoid the big team then, brother. Especially when you're not a big team. Yes, Jamaica is not a big team. You're an okay team. The two big teams, I mean, CONCACAF for Mexico and the United States. Then Costa Rica based on history. I could do the maths, man, and no reason for emotions, reason for a ball game. But alright, everything good. Everybody have them views. That's just my views. And again, that I come from somebody who play a ball or used to play a ball. You know, I wash up now still, but you know what I think of. Alright. So that is Tiana Morgan, 16 years old. Trial Gardens open in Hanover. Been missing since Thursday. Another young lady has been reported missing. I don't know. England was the best team. Alright, Griffiths, we can't talk football again, brother. If you tell me say England are the best team in the Euro, then I don't talk football with you, brother. I would have never do that again. You understand? Italy was the best team in the Euro's most consistent team and the most deserving team. You understand what I say? One good team England playing at the world competition and a German, a subpar German. But say England are the best team in the Euro. I guess we all have our views of football still. You understand? Yeah, man. But big up yourself still. But we can't talk football. We can't talk anything else, bro. Talk about girls, talk about music, talk about crime and money and economics, but no football. If you tell me saying England are the best team in a Euro, then we can't talk about football again, brother. Yeah, man. Me yes, Canada win 2 love. Alright, I can move on again. Alert activated for a 16-year-old girl gone missing in Portmore. An Ananda alert has been activated for a 16-year-old Althalia Lancaster of Portmore, St. Catherine, who has been missing since Friday, July 23. She's of dark complexion, medium build, and is about 170 centimeters or 5 feet 7 inches tall. Reports from the Bridgeport police are that Althalia, first name, was last seen at home. Her mode of dress at the time she went missing was unknown. Efforts to contact her since then have been unsuccessful, and anyone knowing the whereabouts of Althalia Lancaster has been asked to contact the Bridgeport police at 876-988-2697. The police's 119 emergency number or the nearest police station. So I have no update as to these young ladies' whereabouts. If they have returned home, awesome. If not, I sincerely hope that they are okay and they will be reunited with their families in very short order. Hey Rosie, how are you? It's good to see you. Well, we know how you're doing, but how you're doing, if you understand what I say. Yeah, man. So, 2 young ladies reported missing. Hopefully, we get some good news as the week progresses that they are home safe. Found, returned, them something there. You see it? Both 16 years old. Person of interest in custody in relation to the murder of Portland farmer. We spoke about that. Friday night, where the farmer was found in a hut that was set ablaze, and some of her limbs were dismembered. Now, man, France have the best squad in the world, not just better than England, but France, them just never turn up, you understand? But France have the best squad in the world, probably France and Belgium. And England's squad is alright too, but a lot of the English players are hyped up Premier League players, and the British media hype them up. But when it come on to the international competitions, when them have to talk to the South American giants, them the Brazil, the Argentina, in some cases Uruguay when them in a good form, in recent times Chile. You see me? Them and some African team together is a different thing. So many of the English players are overhyped by the British media. Zane, them are the greatest things since sliced bread, and them are some ordinary players. You understand what I mean? I say, name me 5 players in the English squad are world class. Just 5. Alright, never mind. 3 world class play. World class. When we talk about world class player, we are talking about Robert Lewandowski. We are talking about Lionel Messi. We are talking about Neymar. We are talking about Suarez, kind of that aside about. You understand what I mean? Maybe not. We are talking about Luka Modric. We are talking about Karim Benzema. We are talking about N'Golo Kante. Them the player that we are talking about. So, yeah, probably a side, but too much world-class players on the English side. Harry Kane. Give me a next one. World-class. Me not talk good Premier League. Me not talk world-class. So, me I wait for the names then. Brother, CR7 no play for England, bro. Oh, you mean in world class, so fine. Okay. Sterling, no, brother. Raheem Sterling, world class, brother. Calm down, man. Keep man say Raheem Sterling is a average Premier League. He's a good Premier League baller. You understand? World class. Mad. I guess our definition of world class different dead still. You understand? Okay, me don't tell us a Robert Lewandowski, them the man that we say world class. Luka Modric, Karim Benzema, them and yet Raheem Sterling. Most people are say the youth are just gonna United did fair play over Sterling before the competition start. Show you. Nah man, not Harry Kane is only world class baller in the English side, man. If you don't know football, you don't know football. If you don't know football, you don't know. Harry Kane is the only world class player in the English side. See me? English players just overhyped by Sky Sports and BT Sports and all of them sports. Normally them not as good as people say them is, brother. You understand? Word Raheem Sterling. And right now, me I pick Rashford in on my side every game over Raheem Sterling. Again, me as a coach. Dominic Reid, you understand when I say a baller mean world class? It mean that when you compare him with other players in his position, he's one of the best. That is what world class is. Him can walk in many teams around the world. That is what world class is. So forget about what him do. You understand? And the man has been the lead in Premier League. When I say Premier League are the best league in the world. And the man have many seasons the top scorer in the league, or close to being the top scorer. In a one look wash up side. The man carry the side every game. Sterling a play around some of the best players in the world. Kevin, Zane, Rodri, name the ball of them a City. You understand what I say? I don't think Georgina world class neither. Conte world class. Because Georgina is a good passer of the ball. He not really defend very well. And Chelsea me support. But alright, we done it because on football we don't come here for. You understand something we done? The ladies them not really too love the ball game talk neither. But we just attack. Harry Kane is the only English player that is world class, brother. Nobody else. Yeah. Man, so we Kane do. Man. Yes, he had a good tournament, brother. That don't make you world class, bad man. So he have a good tournament. Yes. He struggle all season in Premier League, brother. One tournament to make you world class, bad man. You see me? One tournament to make you world class. Bale was world class. Bale not upon the level there again. You see me? So we get up every day and rate some regular ballers to them world class, brother. Some of them ballers they are regular baller, man. I mean nobody trick you, man. You understand? Right now even Hazard no world class again. Cause from him reach Madrid in farm just disappear. Brother, as me I tell you. So me just tell you, say me I will pick Rashford over Sterling every time, brother. Cause me not see Sterling as a baller, I want to see Sterling as, brother. As a man who watch football and play football, me look for different things, you understand? So that's why I'm going to rate some of my side I want to rate. I want to rate England. You see me? England is just a bunch of overhyped Premier League players. You understand? That's right there. So although Kane has been overhyped by the English media, Kane has been doing it seasons in a ordinary side. You understand? Sterling has been playing around world-class players seasons in, seasons out. And Kane keep doing it. But we talk about football one next time. I know the football thing go. We'll never agree upon certain things, but that's also a thing go. We look upon a thing differently. But Raheem Sterling is not world-class. If you think so, then that's not safe. You see me? Personal, I wish how many days I talk about football still. Me done. Persons of interest in custody in relation to murder of Portland farmer. Man say me a disrespect Sterling. Brother, Sterling no world class, brother. That's all me say. The man no world class. You understand? So those Cristiano Ronaldo, brother. So those Bruno Fernandes, where all I Man U fan them say the greatest thing. You understand? Penalty are part of the game. Enough man take them and miss them. So if a man score them regularly, that means him alright. So what about that? No part of the game, one. Enough to take them. Come on, man. We're not talking game, we're not talking the game fair, man. See? I'm still going back on the football, though. Pogba alright in our friend's side. Him ordinary in our Man U side. Every now and then he show some class. But that's a next debate. We're gone again. A person of interest has been taken into custody in connection with the murder of 60-year-old. We probably need to do a football stream, one time. With the murder of 60-year-old Cynthia Hines at her farm in St. Margaret's Bay, Portland. Miss Hines' burnt body was discovered in a hut about 9 on Thursday morning. The hands and feet were severed. So the name of the person, the name of the arrested individual has not been published, made public. So I guess the police are still doing them thing. You see it? Trelawney farm manager remanded on murder charge. David Lee, the farm manager accused of murder, was again remanded when he appeared in the Trelawney Parish Court on Friday. The 28-year-old will return to court on August 10 when investigators are expected to submit the outstanding toxicology report. His attorney, Christopher Townsend, is also expected to renew his bail application. Mr. Lee is charged with the fatal shooting of 27-year-old Kimberly Forbes during a dispute in Allside, Waitabit, Trelawney. Best friend settings. We don't know that story there. See? and thing. Yes, Rasta. It's only this picture me have of this umbrella. I mean, don't clear a picture. Brother and I plaid shirt there so. St. James passed a charge for allegedly raping 15-year-old girl remanded. The 39-year-old St. James pastor Jason Rose, who was charged for allegedly raping a 15-year-old girl, was remanded in custody when he made an appearance in the St. James Parish Court on Monday. The pastor's wife and the mother of the complainant were also remanded. Rose was originally granted bail in the sum of $300,000 when he appeared before Parish Judge Sasha Ashley on June 14. However, shortly after being granted bail, the clergyman was slapped with a charge of attempting to pervert the course of justice. His wife, Kimora Rose, and the mother of the teenager, whose name has been withheld to protect the identity of the girl, appeared in court for the first time on June 16th. The charge followed allegations that the pastor's wife coerced the 15-year-old into saying that their initial reports to the police were false. It's also alleged that the pastor had attempted to call the complainant. All three are booked to return to court on Friday, July 23. Yeah, we probably need to do one sports stream probably one time for a month for you. Now come to think of it. You understand? On June 16th, Judge Ashley had reportedly refused bail on the grounds that she was not of the belief that there was any combination of conditions that can guarantee persons will not interfere with the complainant. It was reportedly disclosed in court that the pastor, his wife, and the teenager's mother all share a close relationship. The judge also indicated her intention to send the case to the Home Circuit Court for a trial once the case file is near completion. So, I know that story at all. Pastor, young lady went to, I think, the church or the pastor's home to do some stuff online. He apparently pushed her in a room and forced himself onto her. It is reported that the wife came home and found them naked and no reports were made. The mother also got caught one whole heap of something. So the allegations are that the pastor raped the child. And then his wife now tried to coerce the young lady along with her mother, the child's mother, to say that the report that she gave to the police initially that she was raped was wrong. So police locked them up too. So the three of them still there in prison. I think the child is now in state care. Jaja. And last week again we talked about pastor, Zane, who impregnated 13-year-old girl child who he met on the internet. You understand? He was there stay at the house with the grandmother lived, 71 or 79-year-old granny. What? You see, police, politician, and pastor. Aye, sir. I did a video on this morning, so I'm not to delve too deep into this. There was a drive-by shooting along Park Lane off Red Hills Road last night. At the end of the shooting, 7 people were found suffering from gunshot wounds. They were rushed to hospital where 3 of the injured persons were pronounced dead. The Park Lane situation has been a recurring decimal and it continues. So I don't know. I mean, if you get the sound bite if you stream, from Shatters. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. I tell you the truth. I'm not even too dwell upon it because I tell you the whole murder thing one time. I just did the video this morning because one, a long time in the upload and it was just an easy video to do. I just do it. You understand what I say? And thing. So, I don't know what else to say. I am out of ideas. I am out of energy when it comes on to the murder situation. So more time with us. Jaja God. You see me? 7 one time, 3 fatalities so far. Hopefully there will be no more. You understand? But how many similar situations have occurred in recent months in the country? Many. Too many. You see me? Multiple fatalities. 6, 7 people shot. 3, 4 killed. Many times, in at least 5 of these incidents have occurred within the last 6 months. And we're not talking the regular 1 a day, 2 a day murders, 3 a day. We are talking multiple fatalities in one event. You see me? So, Jaja. Surprise operation at Horizon Remand Center. DCS held with Ganja District Constable. 2 district constables. 2 district constables have been arrested and charged following the seizure of a quantity of ganja during a joint operation by police personnel from the Narcotics Division and the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch, CETA, at the Horizon Adult Remand Center in St. Andrew on Saturday, July 24th. That was yesterday. The district constables are 29-year-old Lafiama, wow, of Langston Road, Vineyard Town, Kingston 3, and 44-year-old Kiva Henry of Wavell Avenue, Kingston 11. The Narcotics Police reported that during the operation, which began at about 9 a.m., Rowe and Henry were accosted, searched, and 2.3 pounds of ganja was found on their person. The police team also seized other contraband items, including 3 cellular phones and 2 cellular phone chargers during the operation. Both district constables were charged with illegal possession of ganja. Their court date is being finalized by the police. Ah, boy. On Friday night, also we spoke about the shooting death of 3 men and the arrest of 2 during an incident in Riverton by the police's quick response team. However, there was no roadblock and tire burning and cutting down trees and oil fridge and washing machine on the road this time. As a matter of fact, nobody has since come forward to identify or claim the bodies of the 3 men killed by the police. Families abandoned the dead. Riverton gunmen unidentified after 4 days. 4 days. You know that song that just up in my head? 4 days late and all hope is gone. Lord, we don't understand why you waited so long. I don't remember a melody. But I don't know what song me talk about. You understand? That Lazarus song there. 4 days late. Family them 4 days late. Because what about this? 4 days after a gun battle took place in Riverton, St. Andrew, leaving 3 men dead and 4 others in custody. Local authorities say the deceased remain unidentified. Why it sound like Amir still asleep? Then that's not safe. Boy, you need to wake up, you know, so you can go back in bed when you get look up later, you know. I mean, depending with him tonight. I mean, I am now in the house, you know. Boy, I be that sleep for a couple of hours. You need to wake up, man. And go walk up and down and then and tired again for go back in bed. Alright. Sure. This was the information released by the Police Information Arm, the Corporate Communications Unit, them of Corporal Communications Unit. Who review them articles before them post them? Like almost every day for every newspaper I read about 3-4 articles that have a lot of typos in them. I mean, it's not the best English student ever. You understand? Yeah, man, you need to do that, Rosie, man. Sure. Nah, man, I'm not here, boy, please. I'm not here. That's not safe. One police source said based on checks, it appears that relatives of the men have not gone in to identify the bodies. The police source further revealed that this was not the first set of cases where family members have delayed going to identify persons who were shot and killed by authorities in controversial cases. No man, but you see Empowered TV, it happens, it will happen. But me I say kind of regular, I find it a little bit strange. Yeah, you have editors who do them things there, I don't know. You see? The Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom on Tuesday said it has started an investigation into the incident. Reports are that a team of motorcycle personnel from St. Andrew South Quick Response Team led the way in tackling the heavily armed gunmen in the gritty inner city community. Reports are that the members of the bike team signaled two motor vehicles to stop along Ferguson Drive in Riverton City. Indicom, in a release, said reports it received were that the male occupants of one of the vehicles exited and started firing at the police. The police reportedly returned the fire and 3 men were subsequently found suffering from gunshot wounds. 2 firearms, they are on screen. A UTG AK-47 assault rifle and a Browning 9mm pistol were seized by the police. The men were later pronounced dead at the Kingston Public Hospital. Yeah, so I think 2 were in custody and 5 were killed. So nobody not going to claim them yet. You see me? So make we Mark Golding. I hold no grudges over resignation. Julian said green AK-47. I sprayed and sprayed, man. When you look at it, you can see it was sprayed from the original black that it probably came with. I doubt that green was the factory color. See, it was probably rust down and them put on a coat a spray upon it, you know what I mean? Jaja. Sure we there, no? Oh, one other brother, yes, please, yes. Blessings, Father Roddock. What you doing, man? Give thanks. We say him again. Private figure say him again. People's National Party President Mark Golding says he does not harbor any grudges or ill will arising from the recent en bloc resignations of the party's vice presidents and chairmen. Vice Presidents Damian Crawford, Dr. Wickham McNeil, Michael Phillips and Chairman Philip Paulwell resigned with immediate effect on July 16th. In a joint resignation statement, I want to know all of that already. We can't go into that. You understand? Golding says he wants the party to be a strong and cohesive team, all working towards the common purpose of making the PNP strong and attractive to Jamaicans. He was addressing day one of the 2-day meeting of the PNP's National Executive Council NEC, its second highest decision-making body, on Saturday. In its presentation, which was released to the media by the party today, Golding charged that all persons must make an even greater effort to secure genuine unity and long-lasting peace within the PNP. He indicated that meant that the 4 former officers on Friday afternoon, along with his General Secretary and leader of the opposition business in the Senate and the chairperson of the Unity Committee. Now, he indicated that he met with indicated that met with 4 former officers, and say there's another typo here, so because it should be he indicated that he met with 4 former officers on Friday afternoon. So you see typo again. Golding said the talks were open and frank, and that the parties delved into the details of what took place leading up to their resignations. Having heard from those who resigned, I accept that they did not desire to do me harm or to harm the party. And on the other hand, I did not seek their resignations. In providing background, Golding outlined that a meeting of officers on May 31, 2021, at a meeting, there was a common understanding that a VP election should be avoided. Given the efforts being made to build unity and the understanding that a contest could unravel the progress that had been made. Progress. Jaja. After that, however, the process was loose and informal, and communication was not what it could and should have been. There was a misunderstanding among those engaged in the discussions as to what was acceptable, Golding asserted. As the closing date for nominations approached, this resulted in a series of events which led us to where we are now. The PNP president said the 4 former officers remain fully committed to the party and that he too is fully committed to working with them. Our discussions will continue as we seek to make the best use of the talents available to our noble movement. Meanwhile, Golding rebuked those who seek to drive division in the party. So Mr. Golding have to rebuke himself to then want to look like. Sometimes we have been our worst enemies, as we focus too much on petty internal conflicts, rather than on fulfilling our mission and commitment to the upliftment and empowerment of the Jamaican people. In particular, we must stop this insidious practice of tearing down and denigrating other comrades, especially our leaders in social media. Oh, I might choose some words. I use this opportunity to public disassociate myself. You see again another typo. I use this opportunity to public disassociate. Should be publicly disassociate myself from any bloggers who violate that principle. They do not act on my behalf or with my blessing. He stressed that all must join hands and hearts to make the party united and strong. So like Mark is cross at carrying cross. Jaja. So that's what Mark have to say about the whole thing. So remember say some new old people supposed to come in and replace the old people then. You understand? So out with the old and in with the new old. Incoming PNP vice presidents vow to silence detractors. 3 of the 4 vice president designate of the People's National Party took to a political platform in Manchester last night seeking to silence detractors who have predicted doom on their stewardship. Ian Ailes, Richard Azan and Norman Scott suggested that the fractious party was now en route to rebounding, committing to work hard for its success. This man won't fail, Azan declared at the Manchester High School in the parish capital during the public session of the Manchester Central Constituency Conference. Azan was nominated for the post of PNP Vice President 2 Fridays ago after the resignations of incumbents Michael Phillips. Doctor, you don't know people them. You understand what I'm saying? The vice president's designate did not address the controversy that led to the incumbents' resignations, but earlier, Carlton Bailey, the councillor for the Milk River Division in Clarendon, told comrades that the PNP was purging itself. Yeah, man, a bunting that man. A Manchester executive, you know, so I'm going to do you see me? Watch out now. The man said the party has purged itself. Then drink some senna leaf. I love what I am seeing in Single Bible, said Bailey. No, and him said that and I just me I said that because next thing he said, me said people are drinking senna leaf and Single Bible. I am just saying, I never said nobody said, them said. I said that. You know, good as confused now. I love what I am seeing, said Bailey. Since certain things happen, the other day, things quiet down because the party can only have one leader. He pronounced, declaring that only the PNP can defeat itself. Is that so? It is reported that the VPs and party chairman resigned after negotiations broke down to have 2 supporters of the former Peter Phillips camp and 2 Mark Golding backers selected to be endorsed as vice presidents. Me tell you say a pool party but no believe me on all that. So the man them a try broker a deal for 2 PNP, 2 Phillips supporters and 2 Golding supporters to be VP. So 2-2. A Dalios. Yes, a judge. We think of the 4 most capable person should be VP. The man them a design who for be VP. Yo, joke. Watch it now. You will show with it. Yeah. Meanwhile, Azan has echoed that a strong PNP must be united. He insists that Mark Golding is the right man for leadership and that the VPs would be there to support him. Of course they will be. The job is not a profile job. This is about building the People's National Party, he said. Scott, and this is coming from Richard Azan, who is a two-time loser in his constituency, you know. You understand? Remember one time I think a Stern beat him around there. And the last time I think Enriquez beat him around there. So every other election he win one. You understand? So I don't know that Richard Azan is a proven winner neither. But alright, I'm just saying, as somebody who look upon the politics, you know, you understand? So alright, I'm going to read some more things. What you say now? Yes. Okay. This job is not a profile job. This is about building the People's National Party. Scott would later tell comrades that he was confident in the competence of the vice president designate. Never. Our work will tell the tale, he said, warning that it was time for the PNP to rise from the slumber. Rise united. Alright, never mind. At the same time, Hales, the former Hanover Western Member of Parliament, hero, said it was time that comrades put the PNP first. He too urged unity, saying comrades had to learn to quietly resolve their dispute. This is a man who post on social media things in a own post. A Damian Crawford or a Dayton Campbell. I don't remember, but some serious things in everything. This is the same man when I said them. But hold on. Yes. He too urged unity, saying comrades had to learn to quietly resolve their disputes. Lock your window and lock your door. And if you feel say your neighbor here, shut your mouth. Me see a look of shade this year, but be trouble in it. The vice president's designate will be ratified at the PNP's annual conference in September. Remember what just said, the PNP is in a position now where out with the old and in with the new all. That are going on, out with the old and in with the new all. Watch your maths. Mr. Warmington called this a brother one time, Dilly Dally. So, R.S. Dally now acting as chairman of the PNP. Horace Dally, as we ever say that, on Monday, Mr. Dally, substantively the deputy chairman of the party, told reporters that he assumed the post on Friday when Philip Paul will resign. Mr. Dally said he will remain as acting chairman until the party's annual conference in September. The PNP's National Executive Council, we know already, them something. Yeah, right. So, long story, out with the old and in with the new all. R.S. Dally chairman. Plus some more people do some things. You understand? So, make me deal with that little thing, because that little thing is serious. Zine, we have been observing in recent times trend as it relates to crime and violent crimes in Jamaica. A lot of them are being perpetrated by young men, and in many cases, children as well, teens. Zine, and if you pay attention to the trend, you realize that the trend is actually trending upwards instead of either leveling off, plateauing, or decreasing. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I will suggest that this situation will only get worse. And I make that assumption, very unfortunate and dire assumption, based on the fact that I have been a high school teacher for a decade plus. I have interfaced with many of these kids. I understand how they think. I understand how they are perceiving things. I understand some of the socioeconomic backgrounds that they are coming from. I understand what gets their blood flowing and the intentions that they have. Zane, and you can use a sample size. That is why when they do a census or they do a poll, it's not everybody in the country. They use a sample, and that data, they use it to paint a picture of what the general feel would be across that demographic. You see it? And I have taught both at quote-unquote traditional high school and upgraded high schools. Quote-unquote schools where top GSAT students are sent, and school where students who struggled in GSAT were sent. So I have been at both ends of the spectrum. So when I talk, I am speaking from a place of experience and possibly even authority. So I understand how the youths are thinking. I mean, I talk youths who are from families that are well off, and youths who are from families that don't have anything. So don't feel like, say, it's just the youth of their mother and father. I struggle with them. I think certain way. You see me? And that's how it go. Now, sir, when a school fail, it is a reflection of the community. It's a reflection of the homes that the students are coming from. It's a reflection of the lack of resources from the Ministry of Education. In some instances, also, it's a reflection of the competencies of the teachers as well. So it's not no one thing. And even schools that are considered as failing schools are still producing very, very good students and positive contributors to the society. So yes, that's a part of the problem as well. But I will go further and say that the biggest issue in leading to child criminality is the breakdown in the homes. There is no family structure anymore. And yes, you will have youths coming from homes where there is structure. Both parents are there. The parents try as best as possible to raise them right. And they become deviant when they meet up with them friends. But generally, youths become involved in violence. Their surroundings are rife with criminals and crime. See? But you have many cases also where youths come from good homes and them get sidetracked and derailed and distracted and them lose focus too. So there's no hard and fast to the thing. There will always be exceptions to the thing. However, and I'll say it again, one of the leading contributors to the social breakdown in this country is the erosion of the family structure in this country. See? That is weird, because the first interaction and socialization starts within the home. We have a lot of baby mothers and baby fathers, but we don't have a lot of parents anymore. Anybody can be a baby mother and a baby father, you know, but not everybody can be a parent. And that is where it starts. Yes? I mean, it's easy to blame schools and blame teachers. You understand what I say? But I know we pick them, brother. You understand? I know we are raised them, you know, we teach them. So when you get a child that is broken, coming from a broken home, how many times you have to spend with that child to fix that child, plus to impart the curriculum to that child? How much the teacher then can do? But again, nobody no pay attention to that. Zane, it is always a situation where, and I always say, when students struggle, are the teacher's fault. But when students do well, oh, bright man, and then parents this and parents that. So it's always a no-win situation for teachers. But make we continue. Child criminals galore. Over 6,000 placed before court in the last 6 years. Charged among 28 types of offenses. I'll say that again. Over 6,000 children have been brought in front of the courts in the last 6 years. So an average of 1,000 children per year is in front of the courts for the last 6 years. Since 2015, over 6,000 children between ages 12 and 18 have been hauled before the courts. And what's a children, you know? See? We not talk over 18, you know, because remember, say, you know, the data says that most crimes that are committed, violent crimes that are committed in Jamaica, are committed by young men between the ages of 16 to 25. And most of the men who are dying in this country are in that same age group. So we're not even talk about them, you know, we are talking about the next level below them, you know, 12 to 18, you know. So since 2015, over 6,000 children between ages 12 and 18 have been hauled before the courts for serious crimes, data from the Jamaica Constabulary Force have revealed. The data, which reflects the period 2015 to April 2021, show that 6,494 children have been charged with the 28 crimes listed by the JCF. Recording the highest arrests were assault, sexual intercourse with a child under 16, breaching the Firearms Act, rape, robbery, as well as breaking and entering. The statistics show that for 2015 to April of this year, 967 children were charged with assault, 195 with aggravated assault, 782 with sexual intercourse with a child under 16, and 396 were charged with sexual offenses, rape, grievous sexual assault, the works. Another 350 children were charged with rape, 377 with robbery, 140 with shooting, 295 with having an offensive weapon, and 192 were charged with murder. Let me read that last part. Between 2015 and April of this year, 2021, 192 youths between the ages of 12 and 18 has been charged with murder in Jamaica, and 140 with shooting. One if you see what this I say. One if you hear what I go on here. So. Added to that, 534 children were charged with breaching the Firearms Act, 136 with breaches of the Dangerous Drugs Act, and 228 were charged with breaking, while 87 were charged with larceny. Now, if that is not concerning to you, I don't know why I can tell it to be concerning. And these are the youths where the police get a hold of. Think about how many of them the police them never get a hold of. This is the country that we live in. These are the successors to the young adults and the adults who are now leading the crime wave. 192 children in 6 years have been charged with murder. How much police skill? Well, we don't have that information. You understand? That is not really and truly part and parcel of what we're discussing right now either. You understand? So that is kind of immaterial presently to the discussion. What we are discussing is the fact that there's a crisis. Yeah? And with the influence of media, whether conventional or social media, it may just get even worse. Zine, as I told you before, I have spent more than a decade in the high school system as an educator. Zine, interfacing with these youths, reasoning with the youths, them disciplining some of these youths, probably many of these youths. And I understand their psyche. I understand how they see things. I understand how they perceive law and order. And I am afraid that we're in for a bumpy ride. I'll even add something else to it. I am suggesting to you that the disruption in traditional school, face-to-face, due to the onset of the coronavirus, we will be treating with the effects for years to come, for a generation. I can tell you for a fact that some children will never go back to formal school. I mean, I talk youth when they are grade 11 or grade 12 and 13 for leaving. I talk youth when they are grade 7, 8, 9, 10. Number of these children have stopped going to school and will never go back to school. How equipped are these youths to be employed and to make a legal living for themselves? What will happen to these youths? Like, we still deal with the COVID situation, but we don't even understand the impact that this thing is having across the country, you know. And for years to come, as a nation, we will be treating with the generation of youths now who done with school. As the ballad of 65 said, the roads are rocky and the hills are steep. The maca scratches and the gullies deep. Yeah man, the road them rocky man and the hills them steep man. It will be a rough couple of years as these youngsters become adults. You understand? And I'm not condemning these youths to a life of crime, you know. I am just saying, how are we going to be able to capture back them youths here and bring them in back? And I asking if somebody you them done with you would look, sir, I done with school. Me done with school. Cause some of the youths them mentally they done with school even when school I keep face to face. Now the youths them there them yard for all long. The struggles of the online and distance learning. The struggles, look here, school is a getaway for many of these children. Many of these children are enduring some serious amounts of abuse, physical, sexual, emotional, psychological. All them and all is them. The youths, many youths in this country going to school are dealing with. And the only time they get to exhale and to breathe is when they go to school. Many of these youths have suffered since the onset of COVID-19. Remember that the suicidal rate among teens increased dramatically at one point, you know. Yeah? Many of these youths have been lost. And unfortunately, we won't be able to save all of them. And I assure you, if we continue to treat with the COVID situation like it is over and will continue to be irresponsible, and schools are not physically opened come September, then that's a next chapter of bad days ahead for the country. So this COVID thing, there is the psychological impact, there's the economic impact, Zane, but there will be a social impact for years to come. And the data is suggesting to you that even before then, the number of children who were involved in serious crimes was already too high. And with the deterioration and degradation of societal values and attitudes, twinned with the effects of COVID, the future is going to be rough. You understand? So, and I said this on Friday night, for the adults who are out there irresponsibly doing things that will lead to an increase in the numbers and potentially resulting in schools not being able to open, you are hurting the children of this country. You understand? You are hurting your own kids. And this is something that many people are not paying attention to, you know. But it is there. And then I tell you, say it is there. I have seen it. Me interface with the youths them. We reason with the youths them. The youths them reach out to it. You can begin to imagine some of the situations and conditions that these youths, male and females, have to treat with on a daily basis. The only time they get to escape it is the few hours that they spend at school. Many of these girls and boys in some instances are being sexually molested by their fathers and stepfathers and uncles and brothers and cousins. And them locked down at them yard for over a year now. Can you imagine that? Rough. But I am hopeful that the relevant agencies and institutions and those persons who treat with that aspect of the thing are looking on, are assessing, and are putting things in place to try and to catch some of these youths before it's too late. The article not finished. I'm going to finish it. Children's advocate Diane Gordon Harrison said, while the numbers were alarming, it points to dysfunction within the home and adverse childhood experiences. Me just tell one of them things here. She made a call for more positive adult influences in the lives of children, explaining that while children were often victims of crime, they were also perpetrators. Not only do children in Jamaica feature as victims of crimes, they also are seen as the perpetrators of crimes. Sorry guys, whether alleged or having gone through the entire criminal justice process and having been convicted for various serious crimes. So yes, cliche as it might be, children do live what they learn, Gordon Harrison said. They internalize things. And if psychosocial support and genuine interest is not given to them or provided to them by those around them, the seeds will be planted for frightening or sad outcomes that we have begun to see. If we do not intervene in critical moments when children are hurting, they will act out. If they see others getting away with wrongs, they will think the same of themselves. Based on a 2013 study done by the Office of the Children's Advocate on girls at a particular remand facility who had been placed having been deemed to be uncontrollable, Gordon Harrison said a deeper analysis of the girls revealed they had suffered from ACEs, basically, which caused them to act out. And I told you what that means earlier. Zane? Adverse childhood experiences. So when you say ACEs, so that me I talk about. Yeah? Alright, shall we there now? A lot of them were victims of sexual abuse. A lot of them were victims of extreme forms of corporal punishment in the home. A lot of them were victims of verbal abuse on a daily basis. And they, in many instances, would have made disclosures to either their stepmother or mothers who are in the homes with them. They, the adults, felt it would not make sense to go through with the criminal justice process, and it made sense for these girls to keep quiet, said Gordon Harrison. Even when they, the girls, made the disclosures, they were encouraged to not go forward with the case, and over time, they became extremely angry and started acting out. When some of them ran away from home, they were reported to the police as troublesome, and then they came into the system as being beyond control. She said if we have children being exposed to all sorts of negative experiences and influences when they are growing up, and they are not given the necessary support to cope with these, or they don't have a sense that justice was done to address the wrong done against them, they act out. And this acting out has the system responding to the symptoms instead of going to the root cause of what happened in the child's life to cause their behavior to now become a thing that was surfacing. Further, Gordon Harrison emphasized that children displaying criminal behavior are often the product of the active supervision by adults in their lives. Now we'll read that again. Children displaying criminal behavior are often the product of the active supervision by adults in their lives. It goes back to how they are raised. You know, moral values. Sometimes you can instill moral values and then they stray, as I said earlier. But sometimes it also has to do with the active supervision. So we are seeing the company, friends that they are keeping. We are seeing when they start to flirt with people who are not of good character. We are seeing when they start as foot soldiers of gangs, and we intervene very readily. Instead of just saying, oh boy, I saw the thing said. It has to do with when they are very young. The values, and throughout their lives, young age is coming up, active supervision and disrupting bad association when you see them start setting in. The Children's Advocate further called on guardians to pay closer attention to their children's school attendance, a key element in quickly pinpointing deviant behavior. Sometimes when truancy sets in, it means that the child may be getting involved with inappropriate company and being exposed to the early settings of a criminal lifestyle and so on. If you wait too long to intervene, that is when they are no longer just hanging out with bad people. They are now actively participating, she said. Regarding those who are already in the criminal justice system, Gordon Harrison said the focus must be on re-emphasizing rehabilitation, so when they have finished serving time, they do not exit as more serious criminals. That makes it much harder for us as a society, as this now will be a younger, fully entrenched in a youngster fully entrenched in a life of crime, which makes it much harder for a turnaround to come. We need to turn this around. From where I sit, going back to basic is a critical part of the solution. Children model social behavior and they learn from example. If they see a reaction without somebody telling them that this is the way to go, it becomes their reality. She said. I don't need to add nothing more to that. As I don't tell you now, it's something go already. You see me? There are so many negative influences out there surrounding us, not only as adults, but as children. And let me put something to you. Many of us as adults are not even capable of surviving the streets, the influences, the negative influences around us. How then can our children survive if we are having difficulty surviving? You see the problem we are faced out here? Too many baby mothers and baby fathers are not parents, brother. You understand what I say? And kids, they are very receptive to positive as well as negative. So if you feed them with negativity, they will absorb it. If you feed them with positivity, majority of them will absorb it. And if you don't see the breakdown of family values in this country is hurting us and will continue to hurt us for a long time, then you are blind. And may I say this again, the man them need to stand up in them youth's life. You understand? Because most of the mothers are there, you know. The man them need to stand up in them youth's life. You may not be able to give your child everything financially, you know. Zane, but emotionally and socially, brother, that no cost nothing. Jaja. Most of the youth them father now fight gang war and turf war and they are prison. You understand? Not scamming, not drug running. You see me? Extortion. The Jamaican brothers, we need to stand up in on the youths them lives, brother. Zane? Peeps, big up on yourself. May I left it this. Just think on these words. You understand? You might just look like a little big head brother with just talk, but when I just get up and talk. You understand? And when it come on to the youths and the education system, when I speak from a place of experience, Zane, and I dare say a place of authority. I have lived it. Interview tomorrow is a two-part, part 1 and part 2, Admiral Bailey. So no look out for that. I know sometimes the Monday interview them catch some people off guard. You understand? It's a 2.5 hour interview, and I no mind about. Sometimes I kind of make a decision now, so when I interview them over 2 hours, I probably split them. I guess it depends on the story and how it flow. And the thing is, we make more money to you, man. That me I tell you not to. You understand? It's work, me I work. I want to watch one interview, then I want money. If I want to watch it 2 parts, a 2-part money that. I don't think me a fool about it. I don't even know. You understand what I say? A most captivating, entertaining, revealing, informative interview. You understand what I say? So part 1 tomorrow, 7:30. Make it a date and don't be late. Don't look for it. I'm going to upload it after I'm done. So by a morning, it up and running. And then part 2, Tuesday, 7:30. You see me? So, yeah. Peeps, big up on yourself. Appreciate the support. Sooner again, Friday, streaming wise, as I said, I'm going to look into the sports stream because I realize that there's a possible demand for that. You know, a lot of the soldiers them there and, you know, we talk on sports and thing. You know, we see the thing different and every man support for them ball and for them side and them view the thing different. But we probably can add that to the thing when the thing kind of balancing and second somehow. I think it's a good look of vibe that. You understand? Because, you know, when I really dimensional, we can cover the whole spectrum. Social issues, economic issues, political issues, entertainment issues, sports issues. We govern the thing. We're not just, you understand what I say, one dimensional, but like people. You understand what I say? We can cover the whole spectrum. You understand? So we're gonna look into that. Cause I know soldiers them love the sports. You see me? So we can talk about that some time. Peeps, big up on yourself. Appreciate the support. Have a fabulous week. You understand what I say? Be careful. COVID still a keep. You understand what I say? And I don't know, just do the right thing. Be the reason why somebody smile this week now. A pat on the shoulder, a hug, a word of encouragement. You understand? Ladies, one dress on have in a closet, I take up cobweb or one shoes they got dry rotten. You have people out there when I have no clothes and people who walk barefoot. Same thing for the general them. Enough of we have food in our fridge, put on our long we got dash way. See, people out there when I have no food. You understand what I say? So, if you can make somebody smile, man, just make somebody smile. You understand what I say? And stop complaining about some trivial things. See, because many of us, the things that we complain about are simple foolishness them there, and people out there are struggling and suffer. I could give thanks every day, man. Because even though a thing might look bad in our eyes, many people out there will then kill for the life that we have. You have to give thanks to it. You understand what I say? Peeps, walk good. See if trouble upon the gravel. You know what thing go. Step with Jah. I'm out.
Thank you for tuning in. Like the stream before you go. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Remember to share the stream with your family and friends and browse the channel for more amazing content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's Teach Them, right here. Warlord representing.